Black Moth. In a peculiar corner of the world, there was a town called Crescentville. It wasn't an ordinary town. Its houses had pointed roofs that looked like wizard hats, lamp posts had mustaches painted on them, and alleys would sing operas at midnight whenever the moon was full. Here lived curious-eyed children and grandparents with spiraled beards. But what nobody knew was that, in the silence of the darkest nights, a mysterious figure wandered the streets, stepping as lightly as a butterfly's flutter, with a mischievous smile hidden behind a black mask. This figure was a woman, known only by a name whispered by cats and shouted by empty attics, the Black Moth. The Black Moth was neither good nor bad, or perhaps she was both at the same time. She had an odd sense of humor, a little twisted for some, but it brought silent giggles to others, making them tremble with laughter beneath their blankets. What was certain was that whenever children faced problems no one believed, or when things became truly strange, the Black Moth would appear. She never asked for anything in return, not even a thank you. Her appearance was enigmatic. She wore a black velvet coat with polka dots the size of plump bees, a tall top hat tilted with a feather that seemed about to shout hello. Her eyes, always hidden behind dark glasses, gleamed with the mischievous light of the moon. And most remarkable of all, she had wings, not large ones, but big enough to glide from a rooftop to a tree branch without being seen. Legends whispered that the Black Moth was born from a burnt storybook, or that she was the reincarnation of a mischievous great-grandmother who loved stealing candy from ghosts. No one knew for sure because she never spoke much. Yet, her fame spread among the children of Crescentville. Whenever a boy was bullied by kids who smelled like rancid cheese, whenever a girl felt so sad her tears formed puddles that drowned wandering ants, or whenever a thieving dog buried playground snacks among rose bushes, the Black Moth would appear. She might not solve the problem in the usual way, but she always solved it in her own peculiar style. And oh, how peculiar it was. Take Belinda, for example. She had trouble sleeping because of a recurring nightmare, a giant clown making ice cream that tasted like soggy socks. One night, as Belinda cried silently to avoid waking her parents, the Black Moth slipped through her window. "Shush," she whispered softly, "don't be afraid." Without a sound, she pulled a tiny jar from her pocket, shook it, and a stream of purple light flowed out. The light passed through Belinda's head harmlessly, like a soap bubble. Suddenly, in the dream, the clown was chased by carnivorous butterflies with marzipan teeth. Yes, it sounds scary, but the butterflies just laughed and nibbled on his oversized shoes. The clown screamed, turned around, and ran away from Belinda's dream, never to return. The next morning, Belinda woke up feeling braver and a bit confused. She didn't tell anyone about the Black Moth, thinking maybe it was just a dream, but she found a small black feather on her pillow, undeniable proof of the nocturnal visit. Then there was Thomas, a shy boy who grew so bored in class that he drew frogs in top hats in the margins of his notebook. Other kids teased him, calling him Eraser Face because he always lost his pencils and had to erase and rewrite everything. One afternoon, Thomas was so sad he fell asleep at his desk. That night, when everyone was asleep, the Black Moth crept into the school. She encountered chalkboard ghosts who lived in the classroom but made such a funny face at them that they went cross-eyed with laughter. Amid stifled giggles, the Black Moth mixed magical chalk dust with poinsettia petals, a flower with very unusual properties in Crescentville. It made sleeping ideas grow in children's minds. The next day, when Thomas returned to school, he discovered his drawings of frogs in top hats had come to life. They hopped on the chalkboard, croaked jokes, and blew kisses to the teacher. The other kids, delighted and amazed, stopped teasing Thomas. For a moment, they thought he had magical powers. Thomas smiled when they started calling him the grand designer of elegant frogs instead of Eraser Face. But the Black Moth didn't just help sad children or chase away nightmares. She also played her own mischievous games, some with such strange humor that people would cover their mouths to laugh, feeling a little guilty. One time, for no particular reason, she decided to teach the town bakers a lesson. They had raised the price of cream pastries but filled them with peas instead of cream. It was an unforgivable pastry crime. So, one night, the Black Moth flew into the bakery, low under the ceiling. With a magical candy brush, she painted mustaches on the walls, replaced the sour cream with cloud foam, and transformed cockroaches, yes, there were some cockroaches wearing monocles, into tiny ballet dancers. The next morning, the townsfolk found delicious pastries and a strange ballet of cockroaches dancing to imaginary music. The bakers learned their lesson and went back to filling the pastries with proper sweet cream. Her humor could be a bit dark. One night, a group of naughty children tried to catch her. They thought they could sell her to a circus and become famous. These were children with hardened hearts and mean laughter. When the Black Moth noticed them, she pretended to sleep on a rooftop. As they approached quietly with a net made of old stockings, she opened her eyes suddenly and let out a raspy, almost spooky laugh. Hee hee hee. Black powder poured from her pockets, surrounding them in a cloud. When it cleared, the children found they could only speak backward for a week. They wandered the streets shouting, "Ola" instead of "hello," and no one understood a word. This little prank taught them a lesson. Acting with bad intentions brings consequences. Deep down, the Black Moth was a champion of healthy laughter and imagination. Yes, her humor could be strange, carnivorous butterflies scaring clowns, dancing cockroaches, kids talking backward. But her actions aimed to balance a world that was too serious, giving children a space to be surprised and to believe in the impossible. Her true identity remained a mystery. Some said she was a traveling artist who had lost her memory and found refuge in the night. Others claimed she was the mischievous spirit of moths that devour boring sweaters in closets. Perhaps she had once been a lonely child who couldn't sleep, or an old woman with a child's soul who decided to don polka dots and fly through the shadows. Whatever the truth, it didn't really matter. The Black Moth was a reminder: the world isn't just light or shadow, seriousness or fun. It holds dark laughter that makes us tremble and learn, and strange acts of kindness that invite us to imagine. And even if what she did didn't always make sense, to the children, it meant they weren't alone, that someone was watching over their dreams and mischief from the hidden corners of the night. And so, in Crescentville, as mustached lamp posts went back to snoozing and wizard-hatted houses leaned to rest under the starlit sky, the Black Moth kept doing what she did best: surprising, scaring just a little, only a little, teaching sweet lessons with a hint of the strange, and leaving black feathers as proof of her visit. Every time a child fell asleep with a smile on their lips, somewhere between the rooftops and the moon, a soft and cryptic hee 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 could be heard.